All right, you bloody tot. We have a recap for Monday. Inside day of doom, by the way. Um, what's popping, right? Overnight, obviously this daily candle boils in like Friday's price action from like the bank holiday boils into the day. So like technically this is the day's low down here, and then this was like the price action for that day, and then this is today's price action kind of type of thing. But like daily candle wise, this is the daily candle. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah, what was going on going into New York? Whole lot of relative equal lows below, whole lot of low resistance liquidity waiting for us, right? Then going into the New York session, we get a little bit of a retrace, just a tad. We take out like this short term low here. This was London low, right down here, which we left. So we didn't take London low. This was London. Didn't take it. ES didn't take it. YM did, but like the big boys didn't, and we were chopping. We end up running the highs, right? Bink. That was essentially 950s macros thing. We completed the run to the highs. We first left a relative equal on both NQ and ES here, right? Like this was the first kind of trade idea, where we had that, and then we had this SMT at this internal where ES put in a lower low on the 15-minute, and we had a 1 minute off this. But for reasons I'll get into in a second, that was not a trade I was interested in. So that was kind of the first potential for today. Then 10:50, we had consecutive candle SMT on the highs from 10:30 to 10:45, right? If we look at ES, well, I guess it didn't quite hold, but at the time of the setup, which I guess we'll see when we drop down to the 1 minute, there was definitely SMT here, and we had like the peak relative equal lows down here, which will also look even nicer on the 1 minute. And we had taken the Asia highs, and like also bias wise, I was still looking for a potential rundown into this. Obviously, we didn't quite get any of that action today, but yeah, from there we get a little bit of a sell-off. Then we retrace back up, put in a higher high, or basically we get a little bit of a retracement, and then we get a continuation higher off that. Run those highs. Now this 1150 macro, I don't actually know. We'll get into it on the 1 minute if there's anything. I got off the charts after this first trade I took. Reason being, I have a presentation on like a big paper I had to write for macro tomorrow, and like the paper's not quite done yet. It doesn't have to be like perfectly done, but like it needs to be like cohesion wise kind of done in order for me to actually be able to present something. So I was hustling for that. And I was just like, okay, I have a lot to do. I'm gonna take my trade and dip. I actually don't think there was anything in this macro. Anyway, we had something in this macro where we had consecutive candle 15-minute here when we were rejecting from this 15-minute rejection block, and also this was hourly consecutive in the 1250 macro. We're gonna look at that too. And then I don't think the last macro did much. So without further ado, I'm gonna clear this and we're gonna drop down to the 1 minute. Yeah, so this was kind of the open, very, very choppy. Then we get this retrace with consecutive candle SMT, as I mentioned, and we have this breaker here. Now, what do I not like about this breaker? Well, for starters, 78-point stop, right? What's the risk on that? It's like 156, so it's like slightly over risk technically. The other thing is this was Asia highs, right? And this was also essentially the external on a trade where I did not see us trading much higher than that today. Like I thought we are probably going to go lower. So I was like, am I really going to risk 150 to basically hope that after these 30 points where I go break even, price is going to just explode and not retest? And the answer for me was no. I didn't think that made much sense, because I thought when we take this high, most likely, like I didn't see us going. I just thought we're going to get break even. And then chances were with how we were trading here that we might just flip around here and, and get stopped out. So I decided not to. Then I got rage baited afterwards, seeing how Price like refused to tap it and then kept attempting to go higher. So like the break even stop would have came like way later. But yeah, well technically this actually would have been like a slight win if I had reversed the position here. But yeah, I'm just gonna elect to remove this now. I think that covers why I didn't take that trade. And with that, we can get into this other trade where we have all these equal lows, as you can see. Then we had the consecutive candle, and we had this nice clean breaker, 1052, displacement through. And we short that, and we get an instant reaction, and we run right to the equal lows. And we reverse higher, bro. I was tweaking, man. I was tweaking here. But it's not an external, so there's no break evens. I was very tempted because I thought like if we're not gonna go now, chances are Price might just not want to do it. But I was like, okay, no, that's not part of the rules. The probabilities are very much in my favor, I think, with these equal lows. Let's just stick it out. And I lost a few, brain cells watching this a bit. We get another displacement here after the initial retrace into this propulsion block, inversing this 1 minute fair value gap, closing below. I was like, all right, here we go now. Right back up. Then we get another breakdown here. We had a big body. Nope. And then eventually we finally break down and we put in another equal low and get another big retrace. And then eventually it fucking works out. So yeah, that was the setup of the day basically. Right there, and that's when I got off, right? And like this would have been potentially clean long, but obviously out of macro, whatever. Shorts wise, yeah, so this would have happened after the macro, this like short movement, so that would have been out. And then the potential long off that consecutive candle SMT would have just been like this tiny order block here where we had SMT like this, which this is not a bad setup, right? Obviously, it's kind of against my higher time frame bias, but just like off the hourly consecutive, off the 50-minute, there's like a 50-minute propulsion block here. There's some relative equal highs here, which we actually didn't even end up purging, even though this ran 2R. But as I mentioned, was not trading anymore. I actually had swiped over because this is where I was binging at like 104 or 105, and that was like just where we had closed above and we were kind of starting to displace away. I was like, ooh, this actually looks like a nice setup. But yeah, I was, again, like I said, I was done for the day. But yeah, I mean, this is something to maybe just journal. Looks kind of nice. Again, I wasn't done for the day for the like reasons of, oh, I finally got a winning day and now I'm scared to take another trade or to execute the model. It was just purely because I had shit to fucking do. Like, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Wait, let me actually scroll. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half, 10 and a half, 11 and a half, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pages of fucking dookie, bro. And it's not even done yet, man. But yeah, that's that. All right, I just got distracted a bit. Here we go. Also, yeah, I didn't trade. Like I said, I was taking a break from the Lucid combines, so I didn't trade those today. I guess unfortunately in hindsight, but yeah, we had a nice little winning day, and we're essentially back at 1900. Obviously, like extra $20 would have been nice because then this would actually show 1900 and not 1800, but we're closer to 19. So we had a nice Monday coming in here. We've still got work to do. As I mentioned, like the first 3 days of this week are very like uni loaded. Like tomorrow, I'll miss the first macro in the sense of like I'll be done with my macro presentations, like the hour of presentations. Like obviously if it was just my presentation and I got to leave after, fine, but like there's a full hour or 90 minutes and that goes till 3:45, so 9:45 a.m. New York. So if anything, I'll be able to trade from there. So yeah, and then Wednesday is like I have a presentation at 8 a.m. Which also on Tuesday after that, like after the macro presentation, which I still have to prep in the morning. After the macro presentation, I have to prep for for Wednesday's presentation, which is much like a little smaller. Not much smaller. I mean, this presentation isn't like a huge thing. It's doing the actual work behind it. But yeah, for that time series analysis presentation, I'm already done with like what I'm presenting. So all I have to do is really just like go over one more time and kind of figure out what the fuck I want to say. But yeah, I mean, that's for tomorrow. And then again, Wednesday, I have that presentation early. Then 2-hour break in between. Then 2-hour like lesson for another module. Then the macro presentation where I don't have to be presenting because obviously I'm doing that tomorrow, but I have to be present on one of the other days. So that is Wednesday for me, which again goes till 3:45. And then after that, I'll be like semi-free because a week later on Wednesday I have my first exam, and that's gonna be a little bit of a hassle to study for because I would say that's probably the most like complicated exam, at least for the early ones I have. So, and I only have really a week to do it. And chances are I still have to do a little bit for the macro presentation. So I've got like a little bit of shit to do, which this is totally off topic, by the way. I'm just kind of saying Tuesday, Wednesday, chances are shit might get a little screwed up. I might just, instead of trading a macro from uni, I might just say fuck it and not do that and just come home and skip the first macro. Like that's possible. Which again, if I miss trades, I just have to like accept it beforehand and be like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I'll hindsight journal them, and that'll be that. But yeah, other than that, good start to the week. First day, we executed well. I thought not taking the long was the right call. Taking the short was the right call. Holding the short was the right call. This could have been an interesting second trade, but as I mentioned, just because of being very busy, I just decided like, because the thing with the macro trading is like, yes, it's only 20 minutes essentially, or like 25 if you get on a little bit earlier, just to make sure like if there's a 10:50 SMR and you get on at 10:50, you might not be there in time to really plan it out. But nonetheless, like there's like always like a half hour kind of between the macros where technically I could do uni stuff. It's very hard to like go from the trading focus right into the uni focus for like half an hour and then right back into the trading focus. Like I always say like, yeah, I'll trade and I'll finish up the uni stuff while I'm trading. Never happens. So anyway, with that being said, that's that. Spain, Portugal in 10 minutes. World Cup has priority over university. That's what I will say. So I'm about to make some food, I think, because I'm hungry as fuck. And we're going to watch that game. Peak.